Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video, we take a look at a haunted Japanese bathhouse as we investigate its horrifying backstory. This is the story and endings of the Bathhouse Explained. We step into the shoes of female protagonist Mina Akamura, a young woman who has grown tired of her job in the big city. One day, Mina discovers a flyer advertising work at a bathhouse in a secluded countryside town. While the job doesn't pay much, it does provide free living quarters, allowing Mina to immediately move out of her current job and start her new life in the countryside. And so Mina packs up her bags and sets off to begin a new chapter. Mina arrives in the eerily quiet village and heads to apartment 203, her designated place of residence while working at the bathhouse. Here she runs into the landlord, an elderly man who gives off a pretty creepy vibe. He explains that while the apartment is free, it is very basic, and so Mina will have to bathe at the bathhouse. After explaining this, the landlord hands over the key and tells Mina to meet him at the bathhouse when she's unpacked to begin her new job. The apartment itself is small and grimy. It provides only the barest of essentials. Mina notices a hole in the wall from which strands of thick black hair poke out. She removes the hair and heads out to locate the bathhouse. In the car park outside the apartment, a shady young man in a baseball cap hangs around. This man can be seen on a wanted poster pinned to the wall of the public toilet. There is a bounty on his head, but it is unclear exactly as to why. Further down the street, Mina discovers a trail leading up to a local temple where she meets a monk. The monk welcomes Mina but tries to discourage her from working at the local bathhouse. He doesn't elaborate as to why, but he does suggest that Mina at least take his blessing at the temple. Upon agreeing, the monk smiles, seemingly happy at Mina's obedience. He tells Mina the gods are happy with her. However, she must contribute a monetary offering each day in order to appease them and ensure that she is protected. After receiving the monk's blessing, Mina continues up the street where she reaches the bathhouse and runs into the landlord once more. The landlord tells Mina to look after the customers during the day and then complete any odd jobs that need tending to after her shift. These are marked on the whiteboard beside the reception area. With this information in hand, Mina begins the first shift, handing out towels and cleaning products to the bathers and accepting payment from them. While she works, a local radio station broadcasts an eerie message. The report tells the story of a 29-year-old woman who recently went missing in the village. She was last seen speaking to another villager, a woman in her 60s. Work is slow, and so Mina falls asleep on the job. She is violently woken by a loud scream coming from the men's bathing area. Upon rushing in, Mina discovers Futa, a male bather who stands terrified in one of the pools. Futa explains that he saw something in the sauna room and asks Mina to go check it out. But the sauna is empty, and Futa appears to be the only person here. Creeped out, Futa leaves, and as she follows him, Mina encounters an elderly woman placing something in the footlockers. This woman is named Chio, and she remarks that Mina is perfect for the offering. This comment is extra creepy when we recall the tale of the young woman who recently went missing after speaking with an elderly woman in the village. A woman who meets Chio's description exactly. With the day shift now over, Mina gets to work with her secondary tasks, cleaning the floors of grime. This is dirty work, so afterwards she decides to take a well-earned shower. However, Mina's shower is cut short, as she senses she may not be alone. The commotion was just a monkey, a local animal who found its way into the building while Mina bathed. However, we the player are shown something else, a ghostly woman lurking in the sauna. Waking in her apartment, Mina discovers more hair dangling from the hole in the wall. She pulls it out and proceeds to head to work. Upon reaching the bathhouse, we discover an elderly woman named Matsuno, who has built a shrine of remembrance outside its entrance. Flowers and a picture of her lost granddaughter have been placed down. This suggests that Matsuno is the grandmother of the missing 29-year-old girl from the radio report and believes her to be dead. The location of her death, the bathhouse itself. While working, we encounter a mysterious girl who lurks behind the entrance curtain. Upon inviting this mysterious girl inside, she runs off. Things get creepy after hours when a power cut plunges the entire bathhouse into darkness. Mina manages to restore the power by tinkering with the electrical box across the street, and then returns to resume her cleaning duties, this time scrubbing grime from the walls of the bathing area. While doing so, she makes a chilling discovery: the silhouette of a long-haired woman stained on the wall beside the sauna in the female bathing area. The stain is stubborn and won't wash away, so she leaves it be. After completing these tasks, Mina decides to take a much-needed bath and climbs into one of the bathing pools. Mina's relaxation is quickly interrupted as she is startled by a ghostly figure staring at her through the glass door of the changing room. Moments later, something moves in the water beside her. Mina quickly leaps out of the water, and as she does, the faucets in the male bathing area turn on. Creeped out, Mina turns off the faucets and sets up an out of order sign before heading home for the night. We then witness the monk standing outside the bathhouse praying. The next morning, Mina finds more hair creeping out of a hole in her apartment wall, which she once more yanks out before setting off to work. Outside the bathhouse, she is met with a grim sight: the corpse of a monkey she encountered a few nights earlier. Chilla returns, this time with a friend, who remarks that she doesn't like the look in Mina's eyes. As with most day shifts, things are pretty uneventful. Mina serves the quirky customers who frequent the bathhouse before closing up for the night. Her night shift chores lead her to the local grocery store in search of baking soda to help clear the rust from the shower heads. Outside of a grocery store, we encounter a peculiar man pulling a cart. He sells sweet potatoes, but will only part with them if we are able to answer all of his potato-related questions correctly. Mina does so and is rewarded with a potato for her trouble. Upon entering the store, Mina is greeted by its owner Yumeki, who remarks that we have beautiful eyes. Yumeki has lost their cat Tama-chan and promises us a gift if we manage to find and return it. So Mina sets off to locate the missing kitty. Mina encounters the man from the wanted poster using the toilets outside her apartment block, though he quickly vanishes into the night. Inside the toilet cubicle, we find the lost cat Tama-chan. Mina wastes no time reuniting the poor pet with Yumeki, and in return, and as promised, Yumeki offers Mina a gift in the form of a rather spooky looking doll. We are also given the key to the store chest, which contains the baking soda required to clean the showers and complete the night shift. After carrying out this task, Mina decides to take a sauna and unwind. But this proves to be a grave mistake, as she once more comes face to face with the ghostly woman haunting the bathhouse. Despite her ghostly encounter, Mina awakens in her apartment safe and sound, the hair once more present and longer than ever before. She tears it from the wall and heads to the bathhouse to begin her fourth shift. On the way, she encounters Matsuno in the park. Despite heavy rainfall, the elderly woman sits on a bench grieving for the loss of her granddaughter. Day 4 proves to be far more troubling than any that has come before, as Mina must help out a young boy named Shitaro who has cut open his hand. He claims this was a result of his mother forcing it into the blades of a fan. After bandaging up Shitaro's hand, his mother Michi lashes out at Mina, blaming her for his injury. Shaken from a day of hardship, Mina begins her night shift duties, clearing the clogged drains with bleach. It's now time to unwind, so she steps into the shower but once again is visited by the ghost of the bathhouse while doing so. This time the apparition watches her from one of the nearby bathing pools. Desperate to discover who this person is, Mina looks into the murky water of the pool, and without warning is transported into an alternate, cursed dimension. Thick black hair has grown over the exits, suggesting that the black hair in her apartment is a direct link to the ghost who haunts the bathhouse. Mina is now trapped inside the bathhouse with the ghost, and with no escape succumbs to her pursuer and is claimed by the paranormal entity. We now switch perspectives as we take control of Mina's sister Irena, who becomes worried for her sibling after she stops returning her calls. Mina told her sister the location of the village, and so Irena heads to the mountains to check up on her. As Irena heads to apartment 203 to check up on her sister, she encounters the landlord, who informs her that Mina has gone away on a trip and will be back in a week's time. In the meantime, he offers Irena the chance to fill her sister's role at the bathhouse, and in return promises her a free place to stay in room 205. Irena takes him up on this offer as she decides to sit tight and wait for her sister to return to the village. Heading to the local temple, we see no sign of the monk. He is also missing. Irena begins her shift at the bathhouse and encounters the man from the wanted posters. He pays her 5 yen for a towel and then leaves. Shortly after this exchange, a woman enters the building, and as Irena begins to interact with her, the woman transforms into Mina before her very eyes. Chasing after her, Irena finds only the woman she initially served in the bathing area, with no sign of her sister to be found. The boiler has broken and the frustrated customer scolds Irena and demands she fix it, telling her she will wait in the sauna until she is done. Heading out to fix the boiler, Irena encounters Matsuno, who warns her that she shouldn't be in the bathhouse before quickly leaving. She is worried that this poor girl may meet the same fate as her granddaughter. After fixing the boiler and returning to the disgruntled customer, Irena is shocked to discover her sister Mina standing in her place. Mina doesn't speak to her sister, instead rushing past her and vanishing into the night. She does, however, leave behind the key to her apartment 203. Irena heads home confused, on the way stopping by the shrine to deposit the 5 yen given to her by the mysterious stranger. In return, she recovers part of a newspaper article detailing the missing 29-year-old woman. Using the key her sister dropped, Irena enters apartment 203, where she notices a loose floorboard underneath her sister's bedding. Pulling this away reveals another piece of the torn newspaper clipping, and a diary written by a woman named Yoko. The diary entry details how Yoko was a young woman down on her luck and outcast from the village. She met a monk working at the local temple, the very same monk we encountered while playing as Mina. Yoko fell in love with the monk as he showed her love and compassion, but implored her to keep their relationship a secret from the rest of the village. The newspaper article elaborates on this woman's identity. She was Yoko Inakubo, a 29-year-old woman who previously went missing at the bathhouse. Yoko went missing on January 10th, and from the in-game calendar, we can now see it is August, so we have a timeline of 8 months earlier. On the back of this note, a message reads, "Inside the ashes." This message refers to the ashes inside the boiler's furnace. Upon returning to the bathhouse and searching through these ashes, Irena discovers a key which unlocks the previously inaccessible door at the far side of the boiler room. The door leads into the back garden, where she discovers a hatch leading down into the basement below. In this basement, Irena makes a horrifying discovery. A man is chained up and badly beaten. Judging by his long hair and disheveled look, he seems to have been here for many years. At the beginning of the game, we witness the monk whipping this poor man in the confines of this basement. But why? What led a spiritual monk down such a dark and twisted path? Well, these questions are answered while exploring this hidden area. It appears the monk had been cursed by a yuboom. A yuboom is a Japanese yokai, the spirit of a woman who has died during childbirth. The monk had been cursed as many years ago he killed a woman who fell pregnant with his child. We can conclude that the monk murdered her so word of his infidelity would not get out. In doing so, he created a demon known as the Uboom, who placed a curse on him. However, the monk did not act fast enough, and the woman gave birth to a boy before he managed to kill her, a child now grown into the man we find chained up in the basement. In order to free himself of the Uboom's hold, the monk needed to lure 3 women into the bathhouse and sacrifice them to the cursed deceased, the Uboom who now haunts the building after being invited in by Mina. Matsuno's granddaughter Yoko was the first victim, Mina was the second, and Erina was intended to be the third. The monk also manipulated the landlord into helping him carry out this diabolical scheme, and also seems to have enlisted the help of other townsfolk. This is seen with the elderly woman Chio and the shop owner Yubeki, who gifted the sisters a doll which allowed them to become bound to the monk's ritual. After setting the man free of his shackles, Erina returns to the bathhouse unscathed. Here she encounters the angered Uboom, who has come to claim her so the ritual may be completed and her bloodlust satiated. The Uboom chases Erina all the way back to her apartment, where she attacks her and knocks her unconscious. Erina is then dragged to the furnace by the landlord, where he and the monk prepare to sacrifice her as the final offering to lift the curse. There are 2 possible endings that can occur depending on whether we free the chained up man or leave him be. If we do not free the woman's son, then Erina is sacrificed, this completing the ritual and setting Uboom free, who then proceeds to kill both the landlord and the monk. Her promise to lift the curse was a trick, and she instead used the blood offerings of the 3 women to strengthen herself enough to break into reality, emerging from the bloody remains of her male victims and then heading out of the bathhouse and into the world to unleash her vengeful wrath on anyone she encounters. If we free the man in the basement, then he comes to Erina's aid, setting fire to the monk and the landlord in an act of vengeance and burning down the bathhouse in the process. He drags Erina to safety, leaving her on the street outside the bathhouse where she is discovered by Matsuno and taken to a local hospital. When Erina wakes in her hospital bed, a police officer asks her what she was doing in the village. He tells her that there would be no one living in that village. This leads us to wonder if many of the people we encountered were perhaps ghosts themselves, people who had previously died in this village long ago and assisted the monk as he had a spiritual connection. With this in mind, we can conclude that the man we see on the wanted posters around town was a spiritual projection of the one chained up in the basement, seeking to warn other women who may visit the town of the monk's nefarious plan. Though he did this from afar and in roundabout ways, such as providing the newspaper clipping in order to keep a low profile. This is all speculation of course, as no hard evidence is given, but it would explain an otherwise very random character in the game's story. Erina concludes that the ghost must have been Yoko, a cursed spirit set up to claim the souls of both herself and her sister. However, strangest of all is the fact that Erina no longer remembers who her sister is, her memory seemingly wiped of Mina's very existence. Perhaps a final act of kindness on Mina's part from beyond the grave, carried out to prevent her sister from ever returning to that cursed mountain town. And with that, we come to the end of today's video and a look at the story and endings of the Bathhouse Explained. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it both entertaining and informative. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more horror related content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.